Yo, real quick. What if I told you Ethiopia might be sitting on one of the greatest treasure stories the world's never really heard? And no, this ain't about gold bars or buried pirate loot. I'm talking ancient secrets, lost artifacts, royal mysteries, and forgotten knowledge that could literally change how we think about world history. Yeah, that kind of treasure. All right, buckle up. Before anyone was building pyramids in Egypt or writing scrolls in Rome, Ethiopia was already doing its thing. We're talking ancient, like mentioned in the Bible, carved in stone kind of ancient. It was home to the kingdom of Axum. And if you've never heard of it, that's not your fault. But trust me, you're going to want to know about it. The Axumite Empire was one of the four superpowers of the ancient world. Not one of the cool ones in Africa, one of the top four, period. Right next to Rome, Persia, and China. These folks had obelisks taller than buildings, their own coin system, and global trade routes that hit India, Arabia, and Rome. Yeah, Rome was out here placing orders like it was ancient Amazon Prime, from Ethiopia. But yo, it gets crazier. There's this legend, and it's not just bedtime story vibes, it's dead serious in Ethiopia. You know the Ark of the Covenant? That gold-covered box from the Bible that supposedly held the original 10 Commandments? The one Indiana Jones was chasing? Well, Ethiopia says they have it, not a replica, not a copy, the Ark. And according to Ethiopian tradition, it's been hidden in a small church in Axum for centuries, guarded by one monk. Just one. That's his entire job. No one else is allowed to see it. No photos, no videos, no tourists, just one monk, one box, infinite mystery. Sounds wild, right? But here's the thing. It's not just a story whispered in alleyways. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is all in. They've built entire festivals, rituals, and traditions around this belief. And when you see how deep their culture goes, you start to think, yo, what if they're right? Now let's talk about Lalibela. This place is next level. Imagine walking through solid rock into a 900-year-old underground church, hand-carved from a single mountain. And not just one church, 11 of them. All connected by tunnels, passageways, hidden chambers, like a real-life fantasy RPG level, built 1,000 years ago. And get this, according to legend, the king who built them had help from angels? Yup, angels. Real talk, even modern architects are like, how? These weren't just buildings, they were messages, codes, carved prayers in stone, and we're still trying to fully decode them. But here's the part most people never hear about. Ethiopia's treasure isn't just stone and gold, it's ink, thousands of ancient manuscripts, handwritten in Ge'ez, this ancient language that's still used in religious ceremonies today. We're talking astronomy, medicine, law, philosophy, things that didn't make it into Western textbooks, things that are still sitting in dusty vaults and remote monasteries, some barely touched by modern historians. Like, what else is in there? How much knowledge got missed? Because no one thought to look? And if you're wondering why we don't hear more about this, simple. African history didn't get the spotlight. And Ethiopia? It was doing its own thing. Never colonized, never conquered by a European power, which means, unlike a lot of places, it kept its secrets, its culture, its pride, its past. But not everything stayed safe. Back in 1868, British forces stormed a fortress at a place called Magdala. They looted crowns, scrolls, royal treasures, stuff that was sacred, stuff that belonged to Ethiopia's soul. And where is it now? Behind glass, in museums across the UK. Still, Ethiopia's been asking for it back for decades. So when we talk about hidden treasures, we're not just talking metaphor. Some are locked in vaults, others are buried in mountains. And a few? They're collecting dust in European basements. But the biggest treasure? The knowledge, the stories, the identity, the legacy that's just waiting to be told. Because Ethiopia isn't just a country with history. It's a living museum, a spiritual archive, a civilization that dropped clues across centuries, waiting for people who are curious enough to follow the trail. So the next time someone tries to tell you Africa has no history, send them this video and remind them, the real treasure, we're just getting started.